Artist and curator Andrea Packard has a remarkable eye for art. Here's a show she put together in 2011.
I'm Andrea Packard, and I'm director of the List Gallery at Swarthmore College. I curated collage perspectives with works by Njideka Akunyili, Arden Bendler Browning, Chie Fukie, Kewley, and Elizabeth OReilly. Collage practice is so diverse these days, and rather than try to create a survey sampling the many different approaches to collage, I thought it would be interesting to bring together artists who share a similar perspective despite their stylistic differences or differences in scale or even types of materials they use. I was particularly interested in artists who use perspective and other aspects of representational painting to bring a kind of coherence to their works. Collage, in its modernist origins in the works of Braque and Picasso, is very much about the disruption of the picture plane and a disruption of illusionism and play on the difference between illusion and reality and that kind of rupture of meaning and the kind of outburst of multiple meanings. After that, many artists explored a kind of cacophony of imagery and meanings and materials. But lately, I've been noticing artists who are looking for a kind of coherence. They embrace the many meanings embedded in their disparate materials, and they embrace the kind of fracture of the picture plane that is inherent when you're cutting and pasting or assembling works. But they're also looking for harmonies as well as dissonance. And I think you find that in the works of these artists. Njideka Akunyili is originally from Nigeria, where she was born and raised, and she came to this country to go to college at Swarthmore, and later she studied at the Pennsylvania Academy and at Yale, and she now has a residency at the Studio Museum of Harlem. And as you can see in her works, she brings together the different cultures in which she's lived. One can see her interest in Nigerian fabrics, which seem to embody much of what she cherishes in Nigerian way of life. She's very much influenced not just by art, but Nigerian writers like Chinua Achebe. Her work is an attempt to bring together her experience both as a Nigerian and now as an artist living in America, married to an American, a white man. Those two worlds, which are disparate, are also finding embedded harmonies in her work. Chie Fukie was born in Japan. She was raised in Brazil, and now she lives and works in Westchester, Pennsylvania, and also has a studio in Brooklyn. And I think in her work you can see the straddling of cultures and the simultaneity of different perspectives. You have the traditional Western perspective in her works, but you also have the kind of elevated views from above that one sees in Japanese works, and an interesting use of Japanese papers and traditional painterly approaches that one associates with Western painting. She often makes portraits of people she knows very well, but she does so in a way that doesn't emphasize just their likeness so much as this mingling of their talents and also of these different cultures that manifest in their lives and in hers. Arden Bendler Browning is a Philadelphia area artist. Her work is very much about exploring the neighborhoods of the city, many of them forgotten, buildings interspersed with vacant lots, and those kind of dizzying myriad back alley streets that one so often sees, and then those sudden pockets of greenery, places that people have brightened or manicured. They kind of burst upon one as you walk through the city. Her work brings together disparate spaces and experiences in the city, and it also bridges different kinds of perceptions of space, the physicality of walking through the city on the one hand, and on the other hand, she later revisits her experience of the city through Google Maps. And as we all know, one can get an aerial view and a street view, and our experience of space is more so than ever a kind of multiple one. And her works try to capture that multiplicity, both psychological and physical. Kewley lives and works in Easton, PA, shows in New York City and also abroad. He teaches in Italy. His work travels in different ways. He lives in a post-industrial city, but his work reaches back to the work of Chardin and Braque and other masters in the Western tradition. He's using collage, which is a modernist medium in fine art, but he's seeing it in terms of a language that has been handed down to us that's continuous, going back to the masters. He approaches collage very much like a painter, and he doesn't see a distinction between his paintings and his collages in terms of his mindset, which is to think about geometries and harmonies of color. He cuts out little pieces of color from art magazines, puts them in trays arranged by hue, and spreads them out and treats them like the palette from which a painter would paint. His works are masterpieces of pitch-perfect arrangement of forms. Whether he's interpreting the city or the figure, there's a wonderful interplay of likeness and abstract lyricism. Elizabeth OReilly is from Ireland originally, and she now lives in Brooklyn. She is known for painting many, many scenes of the Gowanus Canal just outside of her apartment, and she's also traveled to Maine and New Jersey frequently, often accompanied by Lois Dodd, her painting partner of many years and good friend. Her painting practice is very much about direct observation. Unlike Kewley, who sees the continuity of his painting and collage practices, for Elizabeth, the collage practice is very different, whereas the painting in plein air is very much about spontaneity, of observing fleeting moments in nature, fleeting phenomena of light and form. In her collage practice, she slows down and she takes a composition that she's observed and she analyzes it and breaks it apart in ways that looks for different kinds of rhythms and harmonies, many of which are embedded in the scene that she's observing, but many of them are intrinsic to the practice of cutting and the edges that are created by recombining fragments into a whole. So it's fascinating to look at how each of these artists move back and forth between analysis and synthesis, between fracture and wholeness. They all do so in a way that embraces the dichotomies and the dissonance of contemporary life and the kind of psychological complexity of it all, but they also bring tremendous matter of poetry to their work and an eye for beauty and an eye toward reaching a new kind of synthesis.
Andrea, I looked all of these artists up and they're still really going strong. I don't know if you take unsolicited suggestions, but give them another show. 14 or 15 years later, it's remarkable what they're doing.